everyone, hope you are good and be happy always. Once again, welcome to Sachi's Academy, and today we will discuss foreign exchange rate. See, foreign exchange rate is very important topic for 12th board examinations. Apart from that, it is also important for our day-to-day understanding of foreign currencies and the movement of international currency in international markets. So let's start with the topic of foreign exchange rate. What is foreign? Any other nation than my homeland or domestic nation. That is, if I'm an Indian, see, I'm an Indian, so any other nation other than India is foreign country to me. So the currency belonging to any other nation is known as foreign exchange. Okay, so foreign means other nations, exchange means currency, and rate means price. So what is foreign exchange rate? Foreign exchange rate means other nation's currency price. Okay, so the rate of other nation's currency is known as foreign exchange rate. Okay, so we will discuss definition later on. Let's take some examples of real lifetime currencies in our international market that we come across in our day-to-day life. That is, number one we can say is dollar, that is from USA. And right now, in terms of Indian currency, if we want to buy $1, what is the amount we have to pay? On 19th January 2021, the rate for $1, if you want to buy $1 in international market or in any market, for $1 we have to pay 73.14 rupees in Indian currency. Okay. In the same manner, for £1 sterling that comes from UK, United Kingdom or England, that is your 99.94 rupees. So domestic currency is your rupee. Here rupee symbol has been made, and here the symbol of dollar is this and pound sterling is this. So 99.94 rupees for £1 sterling, 0.70 rupee for 1 yen. It comes from Japan. The currency of Japan is yen, and 241.34 rupees for 1 Kuwaitian dinar. That means it's the most expensive currency right now in this chart, and I think it's the most expensive currency in the whole world as well. So we have to pay these respective amounts of rupees to get one unit of each currency. So what is that? Foreign exchange rate is the rate at which you buy any other currency, that is foreign currency, in terms of domestic currency. So our domestic currency in India is rupee. So we have to pay these many rupees to get one unit of each currency of these nations. So what is foreign exchange rate here? We can say that simply the price of any foreign currency that you intend to buy in international market, right? So what is the definition? The rate at which domestic currency can be exchanged for foreign currency. Here, which is the domestic currency? Here, rupee is the domestic currency, and here are the rates. See, these are the rates which you can exchange your domestic currency for 1 unit of each currency. So, the rate at which, what is the foreign exchange rate? The rate at which domestic currency is exchanged for foreign currency, or price of foreign currency in terms of domestic currency. This is very simple. Okay, we are just buying any foreign currency and we are paying in terms of domestic currency. That is your foreign exchange rate. Simple, clear. Now, I have written this chart for you people. Suppose we want to express our foreign exchange reserves. So the foreign exchange reserves of India are always expressed in terms of dollars. Whatever amount of currency we have in our foreign exchange reserves of different currencies, it may be yen, some amount of yen we may be having, pound sterling, we have reserves of pound sterling, Kuwaitian dinar, every currency is there in our foreign exchange reserves in India, but all these currencies are expressed in terms of dollars only. For example, if you sum up the amount which we pay for all these currencies except dollar, I have crossed out this dollar. Why? Because it will be expressed in dollars only. So what are the different currencies? See, if we sum up these amounts, it comes as 341.98, and if we convert them into dollars, divided by that means 73.14, it comes as $4.68, and plus $1 is your $5.68. So all these currency reserves are expressed in terms of dollars only. So remember this point, foreign exchange reserves of India are expressed in terms of dollars only. Right, now the code for today is foreign exchange rate. what happens if it increases and what will be the result if it decreases. For that I have made a code, foreign exchange rate FER. If it decreases, we have made a code dim appreciation. What is dim appreciation here? Decrease is for D and IM for imports. Why? Because if the price of any foreign currency decreases, the commodities of that nation become cheaper for us and we buy more and more commodities of that nation. That means we are increasing imports from that nation. In the same manner, when the price of some foreign currency decreases, our price increases at the same time and our currency appreciates. Right now, we can see here that presently if we are paying 73.14 rupees for $1, if foreign exchange rate decreases, that means we'll have to pay lesser amount. That means we may have to pay 60 rupees per dollar. That means 60 rupees for purchasing $1. If we are paying that amount, that means our currency has become powerful and no one will buy from us because our commodities have become what? Expensive. And now, if foreign exchange rate, that means if their currency is becoming cheaper, if their currency is becoming cheaper, our currency is becoming expensive. So we will increase the imports from that nation. Just remember one thing, if foreign exchange rate increases, we increase imports, and if foreign exchange rate if foreign exchange rate decreases, we increase imports, and if it increases, we increase our exports, right? Our exports increase because our currency depreciates. Okay, here dim appreciation, that means with decrease in foreign exchange rate, imports are increasing and our currency, domestic currency, is appreciating. Dim appreciation. Clear? Then FER increase, that means foreign exchange rate is increasing. INEX depreciation. Remember this term? INEX depreciation. That means with increase in foreign exchange rate, exports, EX for exports, exports of our nation are increasing. From domestic nation are increasing, exports of India are increasing, and our currency is depreciating. Many nations favor this depreciation because in this case they can increase the exports of their nation. Okay, that's in our favor. If our currency depreciates, that means we can export more and more items for to other nations, because if our currency is depreciating, that means our goods are becoming cheaper for foreign nations and they can buy more and more commodities from India because our commodities have become cheaper for them. Okay, so this is dim appreciation and INEX depreciation. Okay, so remember this term or note down this term. Okay, now we come across two types of exchange rates in our real life, that is flexible exchange rates and fixed exchange rates. We will discuss today only the flexible exchange rates, that is how they are decided. Flexible means once they are decided, the exchange rates which are decided with the action of free flow of market forces or action of market forces. Okay, now what are the actions of market forces? Change in demand and supply of foreign exchange of any nation. Okay, the demand curve, regarding demand and supply curve, you might have studied in your demand and supply portions. Okay, here we can see them once again. What about demand curve? Demand curve is always negatively sloped with respect to price. Here we don't have price, we have FER. That means foreign exchange rate. This is the price for us. Okay, this demand curve DD will move negatively with respect to your foreign exchange rate. Here 0x, and here the quantity of foreign exchange is given. If foreign exchange rate is higher, that means if it is $80, 80 rupees per dollar, that means in this case the quantity that is supplied in international market will be lesser. Say for, you can say 10 million, you can say, and if its price decreases, then it will be more. If it is 50 rupees per dollar, then it may be $40 million in the market. That means here the quantity that is in the market, supplied in the market, has increased, or your demand for your foreign exchange increases with your decrease in price. So here the movement of your foreign exchange rate and your quantity of foreign exchange is inversely related. Here we have opposite relationship, and your supply curve is positively sloped. That means with increase in foreign exchange rate, what will happen? the nation will gain. That nation of which the currency is, that nation will gain, and it will supply more and more currency with increase in price. Say for instance, here rupees 40 for $1, they are supplying only $20 million in market, and if the price increases, they will supply more. Here the relationship was opposite. With increase in price, they were demanding less, and with decrease in price, they were demanding more. Just that happens in your day-to-day life also. If your potatoes become cheaper, you tend to buy more of potatoes or more of apples if they become cheaper, and if they become expensive, we buy less of them. That is inverse relationship. And here it is direct relationship. Here, if it becomes if the price rises to 80 rupees per dollar, then suppliers will be encouraged to supply more and more quantity in the market, and that's how supply will increase, maybe to $50 million or higher than that. If prices keep on increasing, they will keep on increasing your supply also. That's how your demand and supply curve function. And here, when demand curve is negative slope, you have understood, and now supply curve is positively sloped. If they both intersect, that will decide your equilibrium rate of exchange or par rate of exchange or foreign exchange rate for that market. Okay, so here there is foreign exchange rate here. Now here you can join these lines here. You can draw a line, you can draw a perpendicular from point E to your x-axis. Here your quantity is decided, you can say $100 million, okay, and here foreign exchange rate may be decided at 70 rupees, okay. The rate here is 70 rupees for your $1, and at that price $100 million are supplied in that market. See, visibility may be somewhat not clear over here because market is not working nicely owing to extreme cold over in my region. Okay, here for rupees 70, $100 million are being supplied, or equilibrium is set at $100 million of quantity of foreign exchange. Now, what happens with increase and decrease in supply, and what happens with increase and decrease in demand of foreign exchange in international market? We will discuss them one by one. First, we will take demand in consideration. Demand. See, when there is increase in demand, take your right hand, put it like this. If you want to show increase, that take your right hand side, put it on the demand curve and move it like that. If there is rightward shift in demand curve, that means increase. For increase, you have to move your curve towards rightward shift. Keep your hand like this and you can draw it like this. I'm making rough, okay. So I'm just making like that. You can use scale also. Okay. So here what is happening? Your supply is fixed. There is no change in your supply curve. Only demand curve is changing. Only your demand curve is changing. Your demand curve has shifted to new demand curve, that is D dash, and this new demand curve here, initial intersection point was E, and this is your $100 million. See, you will draw this diagram every time. This is the same diagram. Demand, supply, everywhere demand, supply. This is not a different diagram, and you can just blindly, by closing your eyes, you can write here E, and here you can write 70 rupees. Okay, this is your first initial diagram you have to draw. For showing the increase in demand curve, you have to shift your demand curve only here. Okay, so here your new equilibrium point E dash, where your new demand curve and old supply curve are intersecting, that is your what? New equilibrium or par rate, and it is E1 or E dash you can write. Okay, what is happening here? If you drop a perpendicular on your x-axis, here it is x-axis, what is happening? Your quantity has increased, okay, and here if you drop a perpendicular on this vertical axis, y-axis, your price or FER rate has also increased. That means rate, this was suppose R and is increased to R1. So it may be 75 rupees per dollar or something like that. You can write it 75 over here. No worries about that. Just join these two lines. Okay, here. So you have made a new box. This was initial box, this new box. Just drop two perpendiculars on both the axes and you will get new equilibriums. And here you can write $125 million, 100 million, and 125 million, and here R1. So what has happened? Your quantity of foreign exchange international market has increased and your rate has also increased. That means with increase in demand for foreign exchange international market, your foreign exchange rate will increase, okay, and quantity will also increase in international market. Now, again, we will discuss the demand decrease in demand. It was increase in demand, increased demand, and here decreased demand, DEC and demand, okay, decreased demand. Now to show decrease in demand, use your left hand and put it like this, okay, like this, and shift your left hand towards this, okay. Now if the curve moves downward or towards left, that is what? That is decrease in demand, okay, here, now, and these demand and supply curves will move, or demand is happening at the existing rates. The shift in demand curve is happening at existing rates only. Rate is changing afterwards. First the demand is changing and supply will be changed, okay. So here D dash is your new demand curve. Here we are discussing demand, and initial E was your first equilibrium. Initial, blindly, I told you, blindly you draw this, okay. This was again 100 million. We can draw them all at once, 100 million, okay. So here, what is happening? This is R1. This is R. Initially, what was the rate? $70. Again, this is 70 rupees only, okay. Now, what has happened to the demand curve? It has shifted towards left. That means it is decreased. Now, old supply curve and new demand curve are intersecting at new point. This is new point, and here this is E dash. At this E dash, what you will do? You will again drop two perpendiculars on both the axes. Here. Here at this E dash point or equilibrium, you are getting a new quantity of your foreign exchange. Here it is moving towards left. This too is moving towards 0. That means it's decreasing, and you may write it here $75 million or something. Less than. It has become lesser or not? Quantity has become lesser. And now rate. For this rate also, this rate has dropped down. It has also become lesser. Okay, so it was $70. It may be something like that. 55 rupees you can write on your own. Decide your own figures. Don't mug up these figures from your book. Okay, decide your own. I have written 65. You may write 60, 55, anything like that. You just have to show the equilibrium, nothing else. Now, again, this is about demand and supply. What is happening with decrease in demand? Your quantity is decreasing, decrease in demand, your rate has decreased, and with decrease in rate, your demand for foreign exchange has also decreased. Okay, demand is decreasing, that means you no longer want foreign exchange in larger quantities, and that's why rate of foreign exchange has also decreased in international market. Now, again, we will see now supply. First, you will see increase in supply. For increase in supply, again, you will move your supply curve towards right. Towards right, there is increase in supply and demand, and towards left, there is decrease. So, what is your right? This is your right. So, supply curve will move this like this. First of all, you draw your initial equilibrium. E is initial equilibrium. Here is the quantity, 100 million again. $100 million is quantity, and here R is the rate. Decided. Okay then. Move your supply curve towards right. And this is your movement of supply curve towards right. Okay. Sorry. Now, your new supply curve is S dash, S dash. This is very simple again, demand supply. Okay. Now, your old supply curve was cutting your old demand curve at point E. Now, your new supply curve and old demand curve are intersecting at point E dash. Again, do the same thing. Drop two perpendiculars. Here one, and this one is another. You have got a new box. Here this is R1. Here this is. Now you can see your E dash, at point E dash, your supply has increased. So what is happening? You can write it $125 million. Okay, 125. You can decide your quantity 120, 110, anything like that. Now here, what is happening? Here you can see your rate has decreased. With increase in supply, your rate of exchange or foreign exchange rate has decreased. Why? Because with increase of anything in market, with increase in supply of anything in market, your prices automatically decrease. For example, if there is surplus supply or increased supply of potatoes or apples in market, their price will decrease. In the same manner, if there is increased supply is increasing. Okay, with increased supply, your prices for foreign currencies will decrease in international market. So here, what is happening? Your rate of foreign exchange has decreased. Prices decreased. Now, again, we will see the decrease in supply, DEC of supply, right? Decrease in supply. For decrease in supply, what you will do? Yes, you're right. You will use your left hand towards left. So your supply curve will move towards left. That means here, don't get confused if it's moving upwards. Not moving upwards. It's moving like this towards this origin. See here, this origin is moving. Okay. So don't get confused. See, economics is very playful subject. I like it most. Okay. So here, the new supply curve is not supposed. This is not that clear. You can use scale for making this supply curve. So initial equilibrium was E, and initially you had this 100 million again you can write, and for E you can write like this. Okay, this is your E. For new supply curve, S dash, S dash. This is your new supply curve, upward, leftward. This is your new supply curve here. Okay, this is new. Now, this was R. Okay, now for new supply curve, what is happening? When your supply is decreasing. Okay, drop a perpendicular for this. This is E1. Drop a perpendicular here. This supply has decreased. See, you see it visibly here. It is below your $100 million. Okay, it's 100 million. It is here moving towards left towards 0. That means it's 75 or 70, whatever you want to write, you can write. And here it does that here. If you join this line with this y-axis, your R1. New rate has increased. That means with decrease in supply, your foreign exchange rate will increase. Obviously, in the markets also, the behavior is same for supplies. That is, if supplies of something decrease, then what happens? What is the effect on price? Their prices increase. If there is something in scarcity, that means its price will increase. In the same manner, if there is scarcity of this lesser supply of foreign exchange or foreign currency in market, its price will increase. So this is how you make your diagram. See, making diagram is very simple. Just you take your demand and supply curve, right like this, right like here. Draw this curve, DD demand curve, SS supply curve, make an intersection point, drop two perpendiculars, one here on x-axis, one on y-axis. Right, and here it is rate and here it is quantity. You can write any 100 million or something like that. This is O. Now, movement of supply and demand will depend upon your need. Here, first of all, discuss demand. When you move your demand towards right, this is increase. When you move towards left, this is increase. This is decrease. Now, for supply also, this is increase and this is decrease. So, this is very simple. That's how we decide that. So, in this video, we are discussing only a flexible exchange rate because this was quite a lengthy, I can say. That's not difficult, but it's obviously lengthy. So you can clear it up first of all. You can understand that nicely and practice your diagrams really nicely. If you have any confusion, write in comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And next we will discuss fixed exchange rates and leftover concepts of this chapter. Till then, take care, study well, study consistently, study happily, and be well, be nice.